All right, so now we're going to study the last lesson, which is 6.5, is solving equations by factoring and problem solving. So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to study the zero factor property. Okay, so far we have factoring polynomial expressions, meaning without an equal sign. So the polynomials we have focused on were the quadratics, which are members of the square function family. Now we're going to expand this idea to polynomial equations, meaning with an equal sign. So we have been factoring polynomial expressions, and that means without an equal sign. All right. And now we're going to expand. Oops. We will expand this idea to polynomial equations, meaning with an equal sign. Okay? So let's do the zero factor property. And the zero factor property says that for any A and B that are elements of the real numbers. And it says that, and then if A times B is equal to 0, then what happened here? Either A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0 or both. Okay? So in other words, if you end up with a product of 0, one of the factors, if it's not both, has to be 0. So that is the only way a product gets pulled down to 0, that one of the factors or both factors are equal to 0. And let's do the first exercise. So we have, it says solve, and we have x minus 2 multiplied x plus 6 equal to 0. This is an equation, we have an equal sign. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set each factor separately to 0. Set each factor to 0. So we're going to say that x minus 2 is equal to 0 and x plus 6 is equal to 0. So if we make a 0, what I get here is x equals to 2. And on this one, make a 0 is going could be equal to what? Negative 6 or 2. That's what it is. Now, Let's do another exercise. This one says solve x plus 5 times x minus 8 equals to 0. So again, we're going to set each factor to 0. So we're going to say that x plus 5 is equal to 0 and x minus 8 is equal to 0. Make that 0. And we have x equals to negative 5. Make that 0. And this is going to be x equal to 8. So my answer is going to be x is going to be equal to negative 5 and negative 8. All right. Now we're going to try a few that are not in this form, a times b equal to 0. So let's try something different. This one says solve 3x squared plus 10x minus 8 equals to 0. Again, what do I need to do? I need to use the box method right away. So let's do it. First term goes here, the last one goes down here. So when we multiply, it's going to be negative 24x squared. And when we add, it's going to be 10x. All right, so those two numbers are going to be 12x and 2x. When I multiply, I need to get negative, but when I add, I need to get positive. So the 2 is the one that is going to be negative. Now let's figure it out. In the column, the first column is going to be my greatest common factor, 3x. And on the second column is going to be a 2. Right here, what do I have? I have the x. And here I have a 4. If I multiply this one times this one is positive. X times 2 is going to be, needs to be negative 2x. So this one needs to be negative. If I multiply the 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So this is going to be positive. So my answer is going to be 3x minus 2 and x plus 4 equal to 0. Now I'm going to set each factor to 0. So 3x minus 2 is equal to 0 and x plus 4 is equal to 0. I need to make a 0. So this is going to be 3x equals to 2. Now I'm going to make a 1. So this is going to be x equals to 1. Let's make a 0 on this side, and we have x equals to negative 4. So my answer is going to be x is going to be equal to what? Oh, I'm sorry, this is 3, and this is 3. So my answer is going to be x equal to 2 over 3. So x can be equal to negative 4 and 2 over 3. All right. I do have another one like this one, but it's pretty much the same. Let's do it. This one is x, 3x plus 14. No, not the same. This one, the setting is different. So what I need to do first is this. 14 times x equal to negative 8. So I'm going to add 8, and this is going to be 3x squared plus 14x plus 8 equal to 0. It needs to be equal to 0 in order for me to apply this, the zero property. So now I'm going to do the what? The box. So here's my box. My first term is 3x squared, and my last one is 8. 8 times 3 is 24x squared. And the middle term is 14x. So this is multiplied, and this is added. So those two numbers are going to be what? 12 and 2x. When I multiply, I get 24. When I add them, I get 14x. Now, here, greatest common factor, and here is 2, here is just 1x, and here I have a 4. And everything is going to be positive. So I just factor this polynomial. Now I'm going to set each factor apart. So the first one is going to be 3x plus 2 equals to 0, and x plus 4 equals to 0. So what do I get? And make a 1, and my x is going to be equal to negative 2 over 3. This one is x equals to negative 3. So my answer, x is equal to what? To negative 4 and negative 2/3. I just needed to do some work at the beginning, a little bit different from the other one. I do have few more. Okay, look at this one. This one says solve. We have 8x to the second plus 3 plus 4 equals to negative 8x, x plus 3 plus 19. Okay, so let's distribute this. This is 8x squared plus 24 plus 4. And what do we have here? X squared minus 24x plus 19, right? So now we are going to make a 0. There we go, right? I'm gonna make another 0 here. Let's just do that one because I didn't see this, that I could have done. 24 plus 4 is what? Is 28. Okay, so I'm gonna add 24x. And I also, let's do that for now. So what do I have here? 16x squared plus 24x plus 28 equals to 19. I could have done all of that at once. So I'm going to make a 0. And what I have here is plus 9. And what is this one? If you look at it very closely, it's a what? It's a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so it's going to be 4x plus 3 squared. Perfect square trinomial. Okay, so this is going to be 4x plus 3 is going to be equal to 0. I'm going to make a 0. What do I have? Negative 3. And now I'm going to make a 1. And my answer is going to be 3 equals to negative 3 over 4. We don't need to do the other one because we know it's the same. Oops, sorry. Now, I do, let's see how many more I have. It says solve 4x squared equals to 15 over 2x plus 1. What I can do there is I can multiply throughout by 2, which is the lowest common denominator. So multiply. So in other words, I'm clearing out the fraction by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. This is going to be 4x squared. It's going to be 15 over 2x, and this is going to be 2 times 1. So what do I have? I have 8x squared equals to 15x plus 2. Right? And if I make a 0, so this is going to be equal to minus 2. All right. Now I need to make the box again here. Okay, the first term is going to go here, and the second one is going to go here. So what do we have? When we multiply, we're going to get 16x squared. And when we add, we're going to get negative 15x. And those two numbers is 16x and x. When I multiplied, I get 16x squared. So they both have to be what? They both need to be, if this one is negative, okay, this one needs to be negative. So if I multiply, I get negative. And if I add them, I get negative 15. All right, so what do I have here? Greatest common factor, x. Greatest common factor, 2. Right here is going to be 8x. And right here is going to be 1. Okay, so if I multiply 8x times 2, it needs to be negative in order for me to get a negative. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So I just factor this trinomial is equal to x plus 1 equals to 0. So I have x minus 2 equals to 0 and 8x plus 1 equals to 0. So 1x is equal to 2. And is equal to negative 1. And if I make a 1, x is equal to negative 1 over 8. So what do I have? I have x is equal to negative 1 over 8 and 2. Okay? Now, let's do this one. We have x to the third power 2x squared plus 3x. This is equal to, if I make a 0, now I could factor, greatest common factor x. X squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now I need two numbers. When I multiplied, I get 3. That's going to be 3 and 1, 3 times 1. When I subtract them, I get negative 2. So one answer is going to be x equal to 0. The other one is going to be x minus 3 equals to 0. And the other one, x plus 1 equals to 0. So we have x equals to 3. Right? So x is going to be equal to what? Negative 1, 0, and 3. Now, this one says solve. So if we make zeros there, so this is going to be negative 18, and we do plus 2x squared plus 2x squared. So we have x to the third power plus 2x squared minus 9x minus 18 equal to 0. All right? Look at the powers are descending order. All right? So let's do this. Let's do by grouping. Let's do this 2. So we have x squared plus 2. And this one is going to be x, but if I multiply negative 9 times x, I get the negative 9x. If I multiply negative 9 times 2, I get the negative 18. Now, what do I have? X plus 2 and x squared minus 9. Then we're not done yet. This is what? That's difference of 2 squares. So let's write this one down again. And this one is going to be what? X minus 3 and x plus 3. So one x is going to be equal to negative 2. Another one is going to be equal to 3. and another one is going to be equal to -3. So x is equal to -2 and comma and plus a -3. So here come the word problems. So it says that a rocket is launched from the ground. So it's from the ground up. The height is h and it's in feet. The time is t and it's in seconds. And they're telling me that the height and the time is approximated by the equation, and here's the equation: h equal to -16t squared plus 9016. The question is, how long does it take the rocket to return to the ground? How long? So we're gonna measure the time rocket to return to the ground. Okay? So first, because I do not want a coefficient, I want to start with a negative right here. I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to do that. And this happens when the height is 0. So what do? I'm going to multiply by -1. Okay? So when I do that, I get 16t squared minus 916. Okay? Now, let me factor this. 16t is what? 1 is t, sorry, minus 6 equal to 0. So 16t is equal to 0 and t minus 6 is equal to 0. So t is equal to 0. So this is the first when we start on the ground. Right? And then this is going to be t equals to 6. So 6 seconds is later. It's how long it takes to be back on the ground. So we have t, the answer would be t. How long does it take the rocket to return to the ground? 6 seconds. So the rocket is on the ground at t equal to 0, right? At the start. And again, it's on the ground after what? After 6 seconds. So the rocket is on the ground at the start, right? When t is equal to 0. And again, after 6 seconds. That means when t is equal to 6. All right, so now we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean theorem. So, Pythagorean theorem. Just starting a new page here. Pythagorean. It works only for right degree triangles, right? Which is 90-degree triangles. So I have, right? This is what we call one leg, and this is the other leg. Okay? C is the hypotenuse. And here's the right triangle. How do I know that's the legs? Because they form a 90 degrees angle. And it says that the leg squared plus the other leg squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. So A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. And we are going to do an example. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. Okay? Now, here's the exercise. It says, find a right triangle. It says, find a right triangle whose sides are consecutive, even integers. Find a right triangle whose sides are consecutive even integers. So consecutive even integers are two numbers apart, right? So the first one is x, that's the unknown integer, right? The second one is going to be what? X plus 2. And the third one is going to be x plus 4. And so they are two consecutive integers are two numbers apart. Okay? And the hypotenuse is the what? Is the largest side of a right triangle. So let's do it. So this is what we have here. So we're gonna, this is x plus 2, and this is x plus 4. This is the hypotenuse, B, and A, B, and C. So the equation says A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. So let's replace A as x squared. B is going to be what? X plus 2 squared. And C is what? X plus 4 squared. So this one is x squared. If we multiply this, it's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4. And this one is going to be x squared plus 8x plus 16. Remember, this one is equal to x plus 4 times x plus 4. If you do that, you get this. Let's combine these two. So we have 2 x squared plus 8x plus 16. Make a 0. There we go. So it's x squared minus 4x minus 12 is equal to 0. We need two numbers that when we multiply, we get 12. And when we add them, we get 4. That's 6 and 2. This is going to have to be negative, and this is going to have to be positive. So I'm going to have x equals to 6. X minus 6 equal to 6, and x plus 2 equal to 0. So x is equal to 6, and x is equal to negative 2. That's what I get there. Hold on. So let me write it down here again. So we have x plus 6 and x equals to negative 2. That's what I got from here. Right? So let's do this part again. That's x. X plus 2 will be 8. X plus 4 will be 10. And on this side, x plus 2 is going to be 0. And x plus 4 is going to be 2. Now, the question was find a right triangle whose sides are consecutive even integers. So the answer will be the integers are what? 6, 8, and 10. And we're not going to include these ones because we are talking about a real triangle which has a positive legs. Okay, so we are not going to include this. The legs cannot be, this triangle doesn't exist because the legs cannot be negative. You know, the answer has to make sense in the content of the problem. So let's just not go straight, okay, negative 2, 0. No, this doesn't make sense. So the integers are 6, 8, and 0.